All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
In a world where shadows dance and dreams take flight through the veil of reality into the night, Rob McConnell leads the way, a beacon so bright. With over 35 years, he ignites the light. A voice from the north where whispers are bold, stories untold in the echoes of old. Fact meets fiction in this realm of delight, in the X Zone where dark turns to bright. Welcome to the X Zone, believe and be free, a sanctuary for truth that dare to be seen, where the line between realms gently blurs, in a symphony of voices the mind stirs. With Rob McConnell, stories unfold, tales of the unknown that shimmer like gold.
And good evening, one and all, and welcome back to the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 2 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we will cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we come to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network, TalkStar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, Tuber, and, of course, your hometown radio, Classic 1220, CFAJ AM, streaming us at classic1220.ca. Exonation, tonight, right here on the X-Zone, we step into the world where intuition meets spirits, where clarity, healing, and real human connection are brought to life by one remarkable woman. My guest is LEANNE, known globally as the Barefoot Psychic, an internationally acclaimed medium, intuitive, coach, author, and spiritual teacher whose work helps people reconnect with their truth, their power, and the messages waiting just beyond the physical world. Through her readings, teachings, and courses, she guides people to trust their intuition, understand spirit communications, and to live with authenticity, purpose, and emotional freedom. From intuitive development to afterlife connections, LEANNE brings a grounded, heart-centered approach to the metaphysical, the mystical, and the strange, bizarre, and paranormal. And tonight, she joins us to share her experiences, her insights, and her journey. There's going to be a fascinating conversation, X Zone Nation, so get comfortable. And let's welcome to the X Zone, LEANNE, the Barefoot Psychic. And LEANNE, welcome to the X Zone.
Hi, Rob. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to connect with you.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for joining us. And it always amazes me how you are, I believe, one day ahead of us.
I am.
So if you were to read your newspapers, you could give me the winning lottery numbers for tonight? No, eh?
I wish. I wish.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thanks very much for joining us. And, LEANNE, for the listeners and viewers who may not have heard or saw you here before on the show, who is the Barefoot Psychic, and how did that name come about?
Okay. So I'm actually the Barefoot medium. I do psychic readings and mediumship, and I connect in with past over loved ones and connect people with those who've passed over, bring through evidence and insight and messages to bring through healing, transformation, and to just kind of walk through that journey of, you know, what is often deeply and profoundly difficult and challenging for most people, that grief journey. So that's part of what I do. The Barefoot medium in particular is I work without my shoes on, and it's kind of like that on switch with telling spirit that I'm ready to go, and I take my shoes off so that I can get to work with spirit and also really connecting with the earth and the land here.
Yeah, I was just going to say taking off your shoe gives you a better grounding. Yeah. Now, when did you first realize that you had intuitive or psychic abilities?
So I came into the world as what they call a natural medium. So I came in with my gifts and have had them my entire life. As a child, I remember seeing, hearing, feeling, and knowing that spirit people were around me. I would see dark shadows in my bedroom, or sparkly lights, and I really liked the sparkly lights because they felt good. The darker energies or the heavier energies, I wasn't quite sure what they were. And I would hear spirits walking up and down the corridor or the hallway in the house, and very much feel them in my energy space. So I'm also an empath, so I'm able to feel the emotions of living people as well as passed over people, and also pick up passed over loved ones, injuries, illnesses, or ways that they departed this world.
Leanne, what was it like the first time that you realized that you were actually communicating with someone who no longer existed on this side of the veil, that you had the very unique gift of being able to bridge this side of the veil to the other side, and the message or the person that you're talking to or communicating with on the other side was no longer here? How did that feel?
Yeah. Well, kind of looking back, there's been a number of experiences that I had. So as a medium, I can feel and know when someone leaves the world. So one of the experiences that I've had is with my own personal loved ones who've left the world. I think I've got about 17 family members or loved ones who've left. So I have a lot of experience with grief, loss, and trauma. And I would feel really significant stomach pains the moment someone passed over. So I was really aware of those, spirit communicating to me in that way. And it felt really weird to start with, and I wasn't sure what it was until we kind of worked out the dates and the times and the things that were happening there. My very first spirit person was actually a close friend of mine who'd passed over that I can consciously remember, who passed in a car accident. And it was like I was talking to him on the telephone, like he was still in my presence and very clear, very normal, as if he was in the room.
Oh, my goodness. How did your friends and family react when you embraced a psychic or medium career?
A mixed bag. It's not exactly a traditional career choice, I guess, and it's something that you are really led to in terms of your path and what your gifts and skills are. My real world background is psychology, criminology, and teaching, so I have used that in amongst also my spiritual gifts. So I do counselling and deal with grief, loss, and trauma. My parents are very supportive. They're not spiritual at all. Can't see, hear, or know spirits around them. And my sister doesn't either. So I came into a family who doesn't know anything about the spirit world. And had some resistance from a number of family members. But my mum and dad have seen me work and trust and know what I do and who I am. So, yeah.
It must make your parents rather proud to know that you are helping so many people where millions upon millions can't. And you bring closure. You bring a connection that is truly a unique gift.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a blessing and an absolute privilege to be able to sit with the living people who are dealing with grief and loss and offer traumatic passings, whether that's someone who's taken their own life and exited the world that way, or an accident, or I work with cold case homicides as well, which is my criminology background. And so it's an honour and a blessing to create a safe space for the living to reconnect with their loved ones and get that healing. And it's an honor that I don't take lightly.
I would understand that. What has been your biggest challenge? The challenge that has been the worst or the biggest, I guess we could stick with biggest, that you face transitioning from a traditional life plan into the spiritual and metaphysical world?
Oh, wow. I guess in amongst my traditional career path, I had gained the knowledge and skills and wisdom that I need in order to do this work and to bring it all together. I talk about it like a jigsaw puzzle, and sometimes we don't know which piece goes where and when until we're ready. And so it's, been challenging along the way, certainly with having to run your own business and learn those skills and marketing and promotion and and
everything else that goes into it.
Yeah, so there's lots of challenges in amongst it that give us a beautiful opportunity to stretch and grow.
I've got about a minute and a half before I have to go to my first break, Leanne. This question is one I ask to all mediums and psychics. Is it harder for you to deal with the loss or connecting of a child to a parent than it is with anybody else? For example, mom and dad have lost their little one. They come to you for that reconnection, that final farewell, the connection that they're allowed to say goodbye.
One of the things that I do is spirit baby connections as well. So people looking at bringing babies into the world, and also those who've lost children or babies in amongst it. They're often quite challenging because these beautiful little souls can choose to come into the world or choose not to, or there can be medical or health issues for mum or baby. And so there is a lot of that grief and loss and not knowing answers and the whys and the did I do anything wrong, which is often the case for, suicides or even other types of passings that are unexpected or at someone else's hands.
Stand by, Leanne. You and I have to take our first break for tonight. In Exo Nation, our very special guest all the way from way down under in Australia is our very special guest, Leanne Barefoot, who is known as the Barefoot Medium. Her website, thebarefootmedium.com.au. And we'll both be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, my special guest, Leanne Barefoot, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, streaming around the world on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM, right here in St. Catharines on their streaming service, classic1220.ca.
A beacon so bright with over 35 years, he ignites the light. A voice from the north where whispers are bold, stories untold in the echoes of old. Fact meets fiction in this realm of delight, in the X Zone where dark turns to bright. Welcome to the X Zone, believe and be free, a sanctuary for truth that dare to be seen, where the line between realms gently blurs. In the heart of the night, where the shadows play, on the X Zone we gather, come what may, with Rob McConnell guiding us through the dark, searching for truth hidden, igniting the spark. Whispers of spirits, both gentle and bold, tales of the ancients in the stories retold. From haunted old houses to the echoing halls, we seek the unknown where mystery calls. On the X Zone Radio, where the truth finds
Explanation, Leanne Barefoot is our special guest. Her website is thebarefootmedium.com.au. Leanne, you kind of blend mediumship, psychic insight, and spiritual coaching. How do these practices work together in a session?
So what I do in a session with coaching in particular is look at what someone wants to achieve or manifest or create in their life, and what might be the blocks or the resistance or fears or sabotage patterns that are in the way of them bringing that into reality. And I use my connection to the spirit world to, I kind of talk about connect energetic dots. And so the spirit world will give me little light bulb moments to say, there's a limiting belief here, or there's a sabotage pattern here. Dig deeper into this and shift and clear and heal or transform this, whether it's a mindset or a story or emotions that people might be carrying from past experiences.
What happens when or during a typical reading with you, with the other person online? How do you make that connection?
I just ask the spirit world to step forward and bring a person's loved one into the space with us, and to then open my energy field up and be really present and aware of what I'm seeing, hearing, feeling, and knowing. And taste or smell can come through as well.
Has it ever happened where somebody comes to see you for a reading and the person that they want to communicate with on the other side just doesn't want to say anything?
Yeah, absolutely. We're all humans having a human experience, and we have connections and relationships in our human world. And so if there were challenges in that relationship or resistance or distance, it can often present the same way in the connection with those in the spirit world. And I might see the spirit person standing back at a distance and being really hesitant to step forward. Or there just might be a block there that says not the right time, not the right person to come through for the particular person that I have asking for the reading. And it's often the right person that comes through to give them the messages that they need at that moment.
A lot of people believe in reincarnation. What happens in the case of somebody coming to you, asking for you to communicate with someone on the other side, and that someone has already been reincarnated? What happens then?
So I believe that as souls, where we return to this, like we're here in a human body,
right, and
we return to the spirit world, heaven, paradise, whatever it is that you call it based on your belief systems, and we return to energy. And that energy is accessible no matter what. So even if as a soul we decide to come back into another lifetime, into a human body, our previous lifetimes, that soul memory is still there and accessible.
So does that soul's memory go into what is known as the Akashic records, or where does this energy remain?
It can be called Akashic Records or Spirit World, whatever you want to label it. For me, it's just about going to the spirit world and opening up to bringing through that soul that was connected to you here in this lifetime.
With all the souls that you've connected with over the years of doing the great work that you do, Leanne, has any soul told you what it's like on the other side?
The way that I describe it to people is that it's like moving to a new city, a new location, and they have to navigate and learn how to be in that spirit realm and be in that energy form once again, and how to communicate with those of us in the human world. Almost all of them return to that pure love state of peace and harmony and even if they had a challenging life on Earth, or even if they did some things that were not appropriate or bad things, I
Right.
guess you'd say, they return to that realm and go through a process of reflection of their life experiences and their learnings. And so they integrate those things so that when and if they do come back, they can choose different learnings and lessons.
I understand. Do they have to come back to this dimension, to this reality, to this planet, or do they have the option of going wherever they feel that their next lesson takes them?
Yeah, they have the option of not coming back for a lifetime.
Right.
Some souls, I kind of have a joke about it and say, sit out this lifetime and have a break. And they act as guides, to support people in this lifetime so that we can access their knowledge and wisdom in that space. They might skip 1, 2, 3, 4 lifetimes and act as that knowledge or wisdom bank, and then decide to come back. They might decide to come back as, a little soul that doesn't quite make it through, and see what that experience feels like. Yeah.
All these different experiences, what is it for? Why all the different experiences? I can understand somebody coming down once and going through the lifetime of 60, 70, 80, 90 years. But what is the purpose? What is the end game of learning all this information?
It's different for each soul, right?
Oh, okay.
I think at the end of the day, it's all about returning to love and returning to that truth of who you are. And so, we might experience a lifetime where we have disease or ill health, for example. And so that soul might decide that they want to come back and live a really long lifetime. I have one client who in this lifetime has 10 children, and she makes a joke all the time and says, I'm coming back next time and not having any.
I can understand that fully.
And so I think that, if we think about our human life is all about learning and growing and how to connect with ourselves and with others, and how to relate through that love connection with each other. So we learn about that as we go. So for me, it's all about love.
In the first segment, as we were getting ready to go to the break, you were saying that a child has the option of coming back or not. Would this be part of the child's life plan?
Yep, absolutely. So some little soul, like for example, with the spirit babies, some of those little souls decide that they just want to experience or feel and know what it's like to be in that womb space.
Right.
And that might be it. Others might decide that they want to grow and expand a little bit and maybe experience that birthing process but not quite make it through. Others will come into this lifetime and have their own journey here. So the spirit world's got its own journey, and that birthing process is the transition from one world to the next. And then the passing is a transition from this world to the next. So it's that big cycle and loop.
So when does it end? When does the person actually accumulate enough knowledge, accumulate enough experiences so that they don't have to make the decision whether or not they come back to this reality, to another dimension, or wherever? When is enough enough?
Excellent question, which I wish I knew the answer to. I think that's where that whole question around enlightenment comes in, or awakening, or that self-actualization that often is talked about in psychology, with coming back to all of who you are and the truth of who you are.
Right.
If I knew the answer to that, I would certainly share that.
The world is in a turmoil right now. No matter where you are, there are problems. There are geophysical and geopolitical upheaval. Many people are going hungry. People that have two jobs. Money just doesn't mix anymore. Have the questions changed that this side of the veil asks the other side of the veil?
So in terms of the turmoil or the chaos or the things that we're experiencing in the physical world, what I would say about that is sometimes we need to experience that chaos and turmoil in order to shift and change into a different way of being in the world. And so often with change comes turmoil or chaos. Yeah. That doesn't take away the human experience of that. And what I would suggest to people is if you are experiencing that significant chaos or turmoil, find a space within you to come back to that harmony and your own center, and really look at even just being present with I'm taking a breath today and I'm really grateful for that. I'm, whether it's, money coming in, connecting in with that energy and asking spirit to bring that to you, or bring you opportunities to bring that financial resources to you. Energetically, money does grow on trees energetically. And so all we need to do is get into a position and harmony or alignment with allowing ourselves to receive that. And when we're in chaos, or when things look like they're really dark or bleak, it can be difficult to see where that opportunity is. And one of the things I always say is wherever there's a problem, a solution exists.
All right, stand by. We've got to take our break at the bottom of the hour. Exonation Leanne Barefoot is our special guest. She is the Barefoot Medium, and her website is thebarefootmedium.com.au. I'm Rob McConnell. We'll be back right after this short break.
Finds a way through the stories of ghosts that wander and sway, inviting the seekers, the wild. Down by the river where the waters gleam, shines a sign from a Christmas dream. From Clifton Hill to the parkways glow, the magic grows as the night winds blow. Families gather, hearts open wide, children's laughter fills the sky.
And welcome back, everyone. Leanne Barefoot is our special guest. Her website is www.thebarefootmedium.com.au. You and I were talking just before we went to the break about the communication with the other side and the turmoil that this planet is in and what people can do. And is this part of the plan that we've made to come into this world at such a time where we experience such turmoil like COVID and now the geopolitical problems, and heaven only knows what's next? We actually wanted this?
I don't know that it's we wanted it. We are experiencing it, and there's learnings for each of us
Right.
within that process. I know that particularly COVID for a large number of people was very challenging, and
Right.
here in Australia, all flights in and out were
Cancelled.
completely cancelled. And so, for me personally, my husband's Colombian and was in Colombia.
Oh,
I was meant
heavens.
to be there and couldn't get out.
Oh,
So I was stuck here for 2.5 years through COVID until those borders and flights open up. Now, what that allowed was some connection for him with his family and, spending time with his dad before his dad passed. And
oh, heavens.
if that wasn't the case, he may not have been there. So there's always a gift in every experience if we can look for that. His brother also passed, and he got to spend quite a large amount of time with his brother prior to his passing as a result of COVID.
A blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
You teach people how to connect with their own intuition, Leanne. What's the first step for someone who feels disconnected from their inner guidance?
First step would be to get grounded. And what I mean by that is get into the present moment. So often that disconnect from your inner guidance is as a result of overthinking, overanalyzing, too much doing in the world. And we often don't gift ourselves enough time or space to just be and to breathe and get present. So grounding is all about being in the moment and present and aware of what we're seeing, what we're hearing, what we're feeling, and what we know. And, that would be the first thing. Breathe, take space, and just be.
Many psychic use tools like tarot cards, oracle cards, or runes. Do you use any divination tools, or do you rely strictly on intuition and spirit communication?
So early on in my journey, I worked with tarot because I bought my first tarot deck at 13.
Oh my goodness.
And so I was learning about the symbology and the information that is in those cards to read them intuitively. So I talk about that as part of my journey of setting up my spiritual library, my reference point, my dictionary, whatever you want to call that. So, for example, if the spirit world now shows me a red rose or a white rose in my third eye, my visions, I know that that's going to be about a loved one passing on, either unconditional love or there's a birthday and anniversary that's nearby. So I can wish that person that's with me that pass that message along. Now I don't use tools unless I feel guided to.
Right. So how do you connect with spirit? You were telling us just now about some of the ways that spirit connects with you by showing you, for example, the flowers. But when you connect with spirit, do they come back to you in your mind's eye? Do they come to you clairaudient, clairvoyant? How do they do it?
All of those senses are available to me. My strongest sense and the strongest way I receive information is through my feel and my knowing. So I get physical sensations in my body, emotions, or I will just know something to be true and not know how I know. I just know the information. I also see and hear. So it depends on the spirit person that I'm communicating with,
Right.
and what their strengths are as well, and how open I am to receiving visions. I'm not a very visual learner in this lifetime, so it can be a little bit more challenging to get the information through to me in that way.
Do certain spirits come through easier than others?
Yes.
And what would cause
Yes.
that? What would cause that, Leanne?
So, like us in our human body, we have personalities and ways of communicating in the
Right.
world. And so, some people, when we move on to the spirit world, part of the evidence that we bring through to reconnect someone with their loved one is that personality. And so if someone was a really poor communicator or really shy, that's part of the evidence and the information that needs to come through to prove who you're communicating with. So you can have that anxiety, you can have the overthinker, the overanalyzer,
Wow.
that talks too much. And often, because I speak Spanish as well, I often get Spanish-speaking spirit people coming through, and it's the whole family, not just one at
Oh
a
my
time,
gosh.
all talking.
So do the spirits know that you can actually communicate with them? And have they ever tried to communicate with you without you trying?
Yes, I do have very strong boundaries in place with the spirit world to say I'll connect in when I take my shoes off and when
Right.
I'm ready to do that, because personally I want to live a balanced life. I want to be able to tune out, turn off, like anyone who has a normal job. And so I'll kick my shoes off, I'll turn my light on or off to say, hey, I'm ready to work. But the only exception to that is when it's life or death. So they'll come through and I'll notice them. And I've had one experience of that when I was teaching at a university, a young girl that was, quite visibly distressed.
Right.
And I had her father come through. So I had to ask Spirit if this was life or death, because my boundary is no. And they said yes, just have a really gentle conversation with her about her mental health. And this young lady had made some plans about how she wanted to exit the
Oh,
world.
heavens to Betsy.
So, I have some very good boundaries in place, and I also allow that if it's an emergency or life or death, yes.
I hope everything turned out for the best in that matter.
It did. She got some beautiful mental health assistance and help, and went on to complete her studies and really thrive.
I love those kind of stories.
Yeah.
What's one of the most memorable or powerful messages you've ever delivered from Spirit, besides the one you just told me?
Oh, goodness. Oh, there's been so many. Memorable or powerful
Yeah.
is one that I can think of recently was a lady who lost her brother again to suicide and mental health challenges. And it was just very healing and very profound for her to be able to talk through that and really let go of some of that grief that she was feeling about I could have done more, I should have known, et cetera, et cetera. So that's on the client front. On a personal front, my brother-in-law passed 2.5 years ago very tragically at the hands of someone else. And so being able to bring through a connection and message for his mum and my husband was really profound.
How do you make sure that the person that you're connecting with on the other side is really that person and not some negative entity that wants to give you the wrong information to give to the person who's requesting the connection?
Yeah. So two things that I'll say there is negative entity or energy. I believe that we have personality or traits that are heavier or more negative than others.
Right.
And so we are simply connecting in with that evidence of who they were in the physical world. And all those negative energies need is love and compassion, and sometimes to have their stories heard. So that would be my first comment. how do I bring through evidence and all of that. I have some very strong processes, given my criminology background as well, about how do I identify a passed over loved one. So it might be male, female, physical description. It might be their date of birth or their name, or it might be their personality traits and how they, what they wear. It might be their cause of death and how they passed. So for me, it's about allowing the spirit person to give that really detailed and clear evidence of who they are. And if they're not bringing that through, then I'll ask them to step aside. I usually give it about 3 pieces of evidence is my general rule to go, yep, we're with the right person.
I've got about 30 seconds before I have to go to my break. In your opinion, is evil real?
Evil as an energy is real, yes.
How about, are demons real? Have you ever encountered a demonic force on the other side?
Not really. It's not part of my journey. I know that other people do work with that type of energy. It's not really something that I connect in with.
All right, you and I have to take that break. Please stand by. Leanne, thanks very much for being with us today, which is your tomorrow. That still boggles me. Leanne Barefoot, the Barefoot Medium, www.thebarefootmedium.com.au. And barefoot is not B-E-A-R exonation, it's B-A-R-E, foot, medium.com.au. We'll both be back on the other side as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
When the snow is gently falling, covering the ground, and the laughter of the children is the sweetest sound. There's magic in the air as the evening starts to glow. With our hearts wide open, it's the time we let love show. We gather round the fireplace, sharing tales of old, of Christmases remembered, of warmth against the cold. It's a season of togetherness with hope that won't depart. So let's create a melody that will fill every heart. Let the sleigh bells ring.
And welcome back, everyone. Don't forget all the Christmas bumpers that you hear are part of the new CD that we have out called Merry Christmas 2025. And to listen to samples of it, you just go to rel-mar.herenow.com, and from there you can click a few buttons and get your very own download, or you can buy single tracks, and that's at rel-mar.herenow.com. Leanne Barefoot is our special guest. She's the Barefoot Medium, www.thebarefootmedium.com.au. We're coming into the Christmas season, and angels are very prevalent all over the place. And Christmas itself is filled with spirituality. A Christmas Carol, that wonderful book by Charles Dickens, the ghost of, Marley, and how Scrooge is visited by 3 spirits. At Christmas time, does the message change with your clients who want to make the connection, or who are seeking your guidance when it comes to a psychic reading or whatever?
I think that people who reach out for a reading around Christmas time in particular, or special dates or anniversaries, is because that grief or that sense of loss is often more profound around special dates like Christmas, when we notice that someone's not here physically anymore. And so that's that reassurance that people are looking for, that they're still connected and they're still around. So that's the first thing. And in terms of their own life or psychic guidance, we're often wrapping up the year and reflecting on what we've achieved or what we set out to achieve and that maybe we haven't, or what the challenges or problems or hurdles might have been, or that chaos that you talked about, right? And so we'll often want some guidance or clarity about what next,
Right.
and what do I need to focus in on or step into next year. So it's kind of closing off and opening up a new doorway.
Wrapping it up, so to speak.
Yeah.
You work with love, relationship, and emotional healing. How do psychic insights by people like yourself help people break old patterns? And are the old patterns really that easy to break?
Some of them are easier than others. It depends on how stubborn we can be as well. And I'll put my hand up and say I'm quite stubborn in some areas of my life.
No, I can't see that.
No. And so we can have different patterns of behaviour or ways of being that are created based on our experiences in the past or how we've been raised and brought up in the world. And so sometimes it can be unravelling or unwinding or untangling. And I'm seeing like a Christmas tree with the tinsel on it,
Yeah.
where we're untangling it. We're unwrapping or untangling a lifetime's worth of ways of being or patterns of behaviour. So it can be challenging and it can be really easy as well. So we can change our story. You know, we mentioned about money.
Yeah.
We're often told that money doesn't grow on trees or that you need to work hard, etc., etc. What if it's really quick and easy to bring in money? What if money does grow on energetic trees? What if there's opportunities that allow you to feel abundant and free and to bring in wealth and money right in front of you, and your perspective or your vision just doesn't allow you to see it, or your story doesn't allow you to see it? So it's a matter of changing that mindset or that story as part of it.
How long does it take you to connect with the other side?
An instant.
All right, there was a reason I asked you that. I would like to ask you if there's anyone on the other side that has a message for me.
Okay. I think we did this last time too, didn't we?
I think so. I want
okay.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. So first thing that I'm hearing as I connect in, and I'm bringing forward your guides in particular, is that you have really embraced a new way of living and a new way of being this year in particular, where you've taken a little bit more space and time for you and for your family.
Yes.
It feels like we've slowed down a bit, which is great. And you've also put things in place for moving forward. And what I'm hearing is next year feels like there's a number of different adventures there for you, whether it's travel or short trips or longer trips for you, that feels like you get to spend more time with family. Now, if you've got grandchildren...
15 grandchildren,
Yeah.
3, 4 great-grandchildren, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want some?
Because I'm seeing... no,
Oh,
no,
come
I do
on,
not.
come on. I'll pay for the shipping.
My husband and I chose not to have children for a reason.
Well, there you go. I mean, you should have a couple around just to say you've experienced it, right? No way.
I have a
Okay.
beautiful niece and nephew, and I love hanging out with them, and I love giving them back as well.
But what are friends for? You know, like I thought we were friends. I'm sorry.
So what I'm hearing is that you get to spend a lot more time with them next year and a lot more connecting with family. What I'm hearing is don't worry about finances. It'll all work out. You'll have enough to move you forward and be able to do the things that you want to do.
That's wonderful news.
I want to talk, though, your wife.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about some circulation issues and needing to move a little bit physically, just moving her body a little bit more. Not a major issue. I just feel like I want to get her moving a bit.
I have to tell you something. That's exactly what her doctor told her yesterday.
Oh, amazing.
Damn, you're good.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
I love it when we get some confirmations.
You deserve it.
Oh, thank you.
You truly do. You truly do.
Yeah.
Self-love is also a big thing in being a human being. I always thought that if you can't love yourself, no one else could ever love you. So how do you see self-love playing in attracting a healthy relationship and or abundance or both?
Yeah. And I think self-love we often look at in certain ways. Self-love is about really connecting in with ourselves and knowing what we need, what we feel, what we're thinking, and accepting and having compassion with ourselves because we are human in amongst this lifetime, right? So the stubbornness, the impatience, all of those things comes from love as well. So we have to accept those parts of ourselves that we may not like, and that's self-love. It's about being compassionate and kind with ourselves first. And when we can do that and we know how we need to receive love, whether that's through words or physical connection or through acts of service or even gifts or anything like that, we can then communicate that with people. And I think that we forget sometimes to communicate with ourselves and to ask ourselves what we need and what we feel. And it's often that first. How do I feel today is a practice that I do every day. And it might be I feel happy and joyful, and that's okay. It might be I feel anxious or uncertain, and that's okay. What I need is to talk to someone. What I need is to take some action. What I need is a hug if you're feeling sad. So if you know that about yourself, you can then communicate that, which allows you to have a more healthy connection and attracting the right partner for you.
Have you noticed an increase in spirituality?
Yeah, very definitely.
How do you respond to skepticism about the work that you do? If anybody wants to, ask if I think you're the real McCoy, I do, because you told me things that you didn't know about that I was able to validate. But I'm sure there's people out there who are very skeptical of what you and other mediums and psychics do, and they think that what you're doing is a carnival act. It's an imagination or some coincidence. How do you respond to those kind of insinuations?
Yeah. Firstly, I would say I have a background in psychology, criminology, and education, and that's part of my grounding in my spiritual work. And so, criminology in particular, and I'm doing a PhD looking at mediums working with police on homicide investigations. So there's a whole world of skepticism there.
Right.
So, what I'm looking at is the processes mediums use. They're collecting evidence when we're connecting with someone who's passed over, if you're doing it correctly. And police, for example, their role is to collect evidence as well. So if you're doing mediumship correctly, you will be very clear, have a very clear, solid foundation and framework in which you're working, and be able to bring through that clarity of evidence, not the I talk about don't pull my grandmother out of the closet. I've got your grandmother here. She says she was a lovely lady and she says she loves you.
Right.
Not all grandmothers are lovely ladies. So
they are human, right?
That?
Leanne, I want to thank you ever so much for joining us tonight. Continued great success to you. Thank you for doing what you're doing, and to you and your husband and the 15 grandchildren I am sending over to your house tomorrow. To you and your husband, a very Merry Christmas, and nothing but the very best to you both in the new year. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Rob, and a Merry Christmas to all of you as well.
Take care, dear. XO Nation, that has been my guest this hour, thebarefootmedium.com.au. And to all the grandchildren who were listening right now, I'm not going to send you to Australia. Not because I don't want to, it's because I can't afford the airfare. I'll be back on the other side of this break. Well, I guess I'm getting nothing from Christmas from the grandchildren. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, on the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, Tuber, and your hometown radio, Classic 1220, CFAJ, Classic 1220.ca.